Ready.
Ready?
I'm not going to say too much. That's a character win. You got that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Obviously, that's a big win for our guys, and I believe it's going to be that way the whole season in the ACC. If you guys are paying attention, you're seeing the scores. I think anybody can beat anybody, and Duke really grabbed my attention how tough they played Wake Forest, because Wake Forest has one of the deepest teams in the country, and I thought they could have won 2 out of 3. But at the end of the day, there's so many things I could talk about, but it's pitching and defense. You look at Johnny, makes 2 errors. We were talking about it in here. We stuck with him. We believed in him because that helps our offense be more dynamic, and he made some great plays at third base. Jake Knapp stepped up. He had been under the weather all week. We weren't sure if he was going to be at a pitch. Gave us 6 innings, and then the story of the game for me is Will Sandy. The old saying, I'm a firm believer that good things happen to good people, and Will Sandy is a Tar Heel through and through. Dying to come here, Leesville Road. Things haven't been glamorous for him from top to bottom, but as a coach, he's a special kid to be around, and he's one of our main team leaders. And man, to see him have that success, and he's had it in the last week or 2 weeks, was huge for our team, because that gives us another really good lefty that not only can do that, but he can strike you out, and you got to have that in this league. So that's a great series win for our team.
Best clutch pitching you've gotten from him in his career?
Yeah, we just talked about that. I tell the team all the time, for us to have a great season, somebody's got to do something that they haven't done. And I asked Will, when have you closed down a game? And he's a 5th-year guy, and he said never. So, now we know he can do it. So obviously he could be back in that position. But I also believe that it's okay to have saves from different guys. Poston was going to be a little bit tired. AC was going to be tired. So we're only going to go to one of those 2 guys if we absolutely had to today. And that's where you got to have somebody else, kind of like we did in 2008. We kind of scattered the saves throughout.
And Coach talked about obviously switching around Mac and Johnny in the fields, adding some more power in the lineup. They both have a home run today. I mean, How well do you think that adjustment's working for them?
That's the decisions you have to make. You learn quickly as a head coach. I didn't make that final decision all those years being an assistant coach, but I thought about it a lot last night. Kept me up a little bit, like, okay, are we going to stick with Johnny at third? And I just felt like he's older. I felt like now he's more confident. He can recover from mistakes better than he did when he was younger.
Right.
And I just felt like that was the best thing for our team to win the day. And also, you also think ahead, like, hey, if we want to win a national championship, is it going to be with that lineup potentially? And, Johnny made me look good because he bounced back and made those plays and he hit a big home run. So Mac is still going to play some third base for us. But I'm really proud of Johnny, because Johnny's had to work hard to mature mentally, and he definitely has.
A month in, just over a month in, how you see your team coming along now?
I feel like we're getting better. I still want us to get where we're fielding consistently. You want to get above 975, but that can be a little misleading if you have range. And I feel like our guys have some range on the infield. But I feel like our offense is continuing to grow. We still have some options off the bench, but we really haven't had to use them because the guys that are playing are banging it pretty good. But you're still early. I told our guys today, like, okay, it's a great win, but you got to take that shower and it's gone, and you move on. Because last year we were dead in the water and we went on a run, so that's just the way it works.
Right.
Back to the Johnny and Mac. This is the kind of game that you probably had in mind when you made that switch to put Johnny in the lineup, right?
Yeah, I wouldn't say I had it in mind. I just felt like, that's a way to keep Hunter Stokely as well in the lineup. Yeah. And Stokely, he's got power, and he's really good at first. You guys saw him, like, some things that you don't notice unless you're really paying attention. You're a baseball guy. Vandy pulled that ball. Stokely kept his foot on. He's our best defensive first baseman. Johnny's good, but Stokes, like, really good, like a Gold Glove type defender. And I also like his bat. And at the end of the day, you want to play some young players sometimes, but, Ray Tanner told me years back, it's also comforting to look up at your lineup every now and then and add up the ages. And if the ages are pretty dang old, you feel pretty good about your team because those guys have experience.
Talk about how the guys flip the switch. You're in a tight game. Colby gets a hit, Vance gets a hit, and then Horvath cleans it up. Momentum is a big thing.
It's a huge thing. And, I feel like last night we talked about it because it's hard because these kids are so competitive, and it starts with me. But you just can't, in baseball especially, in my opinion, and in a lot of sports, you can't ride the roller. You can't ride the wave too much. You can't be so high and so low, so high and so low. So we work hard on that. We talk about it. Jenny Shannon actually works with our guys mentally on it. She's our sports psychologist because the mental game is so big. But also understanding and stepping back and being like, okay, if we're down by 5, honestly, with this team, it's not that big a deal because everybody can pop the ball out. You get 2 guys on, everybody can hit a home run, so you're right back in the game.
Horvath's bat continues to be a thing. I think currently tied for leading the nation. I mean, he comes off third base, he goes to right field, he does whatever. I mean, just sort of speak to that leadership. We talked about it a lot.
Yeah, he's special. I've been saying, reminds me of Kyle Datras in 2018. He came back to school for the right reasons. He could have went ahead and started his pro career. And Mac's just a guy, like I can honestly say, if I said, Matt, we need to play you at second, Matt, we need to play you at first, he wouldn't care. He just wants to win. And you're also talking about a draft prospect, and some kids these days, they get caught up in where they have to play. It could hurt this, it could hurt that. That's not Mac Horvath. Mac cares about one thing at the end of the day, and that's if we win or lose. I mean, if Mac's 4 for 4 and we lose, he's not happy in the locker room. But man, it's not a surprise for me because I'm around him every single day. I'm just thankful that he's here because you don't get many guys like Mac Horvath that, number one, with those type of tools show up on your campus. But it's good to see his hard work pay off because he's had to make himself into a better player. You guys tracked him his freshman year. I know everybody thought I was crazy for sticking with him, but he's got that makeup and that ends up playing out over time.
Johnny had the few errors yesterday, bounced back today. Did you have any conversations with him after the game yesterday about that?
Just short memory. He actually made a comment yesterday when he was getting ready to hit, like, I got to make up for that error. I said, nope. I said, that's not our approach. Like, the error's gone. It's in the past. You flush it. So what, now what? I stole that straight from Nick Saban. I steal a lot of stuff from Nick Saban, but you have to stay in the present. And as corny as it sounds, we work hard on also not looking at the scoreboard. We want to know the outs and the count, but we just want to play. And at the end of the day, if you play as hard as you can after 27 outs, you're okay when you go in the locker room.
And you spoke to his maturity growing over the years. Do you have any anecdotes that sort of relate to that?
Johnny?
Yeah.
I think he's just growing up.
Yeah.
I have kids, and I already see maturity in my daughter after one almost full year in college, and that's just a process you have to be patient with sometimes as a coach, because some kids may be a little more mature, be able to handle failure a little bit better. The hardest part with baseball is being so good in high school because everybody's so good, and then being able to handle the failure side because everybody's going to fail.
Mm-hmm.
I hadn't seen many guys not fail here. Maybe Dustin Ackley. I felt like he got a hit every time he was up there, but there aren't many Dustin Ackleys in college baseball.
Did you change your approach to their lineup pitching-wise today, or is it just better execution?
Coach Gaines, we go over. You have to trust your coaches. Obviously, you have to know what's going on. I roll through the lineup. I roll through the pitching staff, and I have my own notes. But he's calling the pitches, so I trust Coach Gaines. He said he felt like they had a pitchable lineup. They were dangerous, but if we made pitches, and we had to pitch in. So our approach the whole time was, okay, you do need an off-speed pitch, but you got to own both sides of the plate. If you go back and watch all of our games, for the most part, we went in, and we went in effectively, which opens the door for other things. And with Sandy, we felt really good about him right there because he has started to strike people out. And we knew they had all that power. And you have to be careful just throwing a strike thrower against teams like that. They can't get a swing and miss.
Thanks.
Thank y'all. All right.
Appreciate it.
Y'all have a good night.